never been shy about the fact that there's a lot of aspects of the pet tube community that I'm personally just not a huge fan of. Today, let's actually do something about it. One of the things that I dislike most in the animal community is how judgmental it's become. I completely understand where this judgment is coming from. As pet tube community, we kind of have a responsibility not only to other animal lovers, but to the actual animals, and these animals don't have voices. I always say that the pet tube community is so much bigger than all of us and our petty drama, because at the end of the day, we're a voice for a bunch of creatures who don't have one otherwise. So if you do see improper pet care, it's so important that you inform the person and call them out for their bad practices. But at the same time, it's important to recognize that not everyone can upgrade their enclosures immediately. Not everyone can buy a companion for their social animal immediately. A lot of these things just take time, and we have to be respectful of that. In today's video, I want to bring emphasis not only to our current pet care, but the pet care standards that we're trying to improve. I think what can also happen is that pet care can become very stagnated, when in reality, the animal care industry is expanding every single day. The fact is, there's so much about animals that we're still learning, and if you still want to go by the same animal care standards that we have in America, or even care standards that are outdated, they just aren't relevant anymore. It's so important that you're looking to different countries and different individual keepers to see what works for them and hear their own experiences. Of course, you can come to your own conclusions. I'm just saying it's so important that we stay well informed and we're constantly updating our animal care as new research and information comes out. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through some ways that I'm planning on improving my pet care in the near future and give you some ideas of your own. This is also a part of my collaboration series. One thing that I absolutely hate about the pet tube community is how little diversity there is. Not only diversity as in literal diversity, as in skin colors, ethnic backgrounds, languages people speak, but just a diversity in the schools of thought. It almost feels like all the pet tubers are just regurgitating the same 5 facts of information, and it's really hard to see people talking about things that are new or different or controversial. So I want to open it up for you guys all to have platforms of your own. I know a lot of YouTubers don't like doing this because when you're advertising your channel, you could be taking away from their views, but I don't see it like that. There's tons of views to go around. If you guys want to participate in this collaboration and help grow your channel, all you have to do is make this exact video on ways that you're improving your own pet care. Title it, How I'm Improving My Pet Care, and tag me at MyPawfectFamily. I'll find your video, I'll comment on it, and I'll also link it in the description of my video so people can find it easier. Also, feel free to advertise yourself in the comments. I'm sure there'll be a lot of other small creators there so you guys can all meet and help support each other. I know as a small creator, it's so hard to grow your YouTube channel because no one is on your side, but I'm on your side and we're gonna do it together, so just be patient, you guys got this. Okay, so let's get on to the video. I've been talking about how I'm gonna be upgrading Gecko's cage for a long time, so today we're finally doing it. I am the queen of biting off way more than I can chew. When it came to Gecko's Bioactive build, I had all these amazing ideas in mind, and I've been hoarding all of these supplies to do it with, but it's come to a point where it's just way too overwhelming, and I don't even think I'll have time to work on this until Christmas break, which is just way too long for him to wait. So I think it would be a lot better for me to actually get something started. My car has low tire pressure, so I can't take it, so I'm really sad. Goodbye, car. Okay, so today at Home Depot, we have a couple goals. I want to get those cement mixing bins to use in my critter nations for my sugar gliders. I want to try and make a bioactive setup for them, which I know is a little bit crazy, but stay with me. I also want to do some type of dig box for the rabbits, so I think it would be great if I could find something for that, but I feel like it would be more expensive at Home Depot, so I might just have to look out for a box elsewhere. And then obviously we have to get the stuff for Gecko's bio build. Okay, we're back. My car is full of stuff, but surprisingly, this stuff looks like a lot, but it didn't cost that much money. But it still cost a lot, so if you guys get an ad, please watch the ad all the way through because we need the money. We spent a lot of money, huh? It was like, I think it's like $50 for everything, which I thought it was going to be more, so I guess I'm happy. We're back from the store. This is Gecko. This is his current enclosure, and this is his new enclosure. This is an 18 by 18 by 24 inch tank, and a lot of people say that this is adequate for a full-size Leachianus gecko, but leeches can get anywhere between 200 to 400 grams, and him, being a GT locale, will definitely be on the bigger side. I think that an 18 by 18 by 24 is absolutely pitiful for such a huge animal that's actually a lot more active than people give them credit for. So my gecko Gecko is going to be going into a 36 by 18 by 36. So this is his current tank. He's gonna get motion sickness. I'm sorry I'm moving you around. He's gonna go from this enclosure to this beast. This is a completely bioactive setup. I got all the supplies from Home Depot, as you guys saw in the vlog. So there's still a couple things I have to do. The plants have been quarantined for a little over a month, and by quarantine, not in the enclosure, they've just been in their pots, just to make sure that they're okay. And they're fine. I just added them to the enclosure, so I want to wait another month just to let them get rooted, because he is 50 something grams, so he's kind of a chunky boy, and I want to make sure that the plants have a good chance of surviving, since a lot of people don't have luck with live planted bioactive terrariums. I also don't have a cleanup crew in here yet because he's not in there, and I wanted to give the plants their best chance of getting rooted, but I will be adding that in shortly. Some things I really want to improve, I would love to add custom background pieces for the side, because it adds a lot more security, and you can add pots to it so you can have plants that aren't just at the bottom level. All these four, two of them are kind of dying, are real greenery. That's pothos, that's real. And then I have a snake plant, which is also real, which is kind of sheltered in the back. These are all fake plants, but eventually I'm hoping, especially once the pothos grows, it can pretty much take the place of all of these. I also did want to leave it a little bit empty just so I can move some things from his current tank into here, just to give him a little bit of security. Even though the tank is fully set up, I want to wait a month for him to move in, but I thought we could just add him in there today just to see what he thinks. I have a feeling that he's gonna love that big round corked piece. You're not proving my point of actually moving and being active, huh? Probably not the best plan, because he's just stuck in there now. I'm gonna let him be in it for about 20 minutes. Again, I'm gonna put him back in his old tank just because I want to give all you guys the best chance at surviving, because there's a couple guys who are, he's struggling and he's struggling. They were struggling before I planted them though. And there's a couple pothos vines that I'm not sure took too well to the reroot, so I guess we'll have to see. So that's why I just want to wait and make sure that I'm giving y'all the best chance at life. Meanwhile, he already pooped, and he looks pretty comfortable, so I wonder if he'll actually move in 20 minutes, because I have to do my hair, and I guess I can let him hang out while I do that. Maneuver him out from the back, and he's gonna go back into his smaller enclosure. He's about the size of a crested gecko right now, and an 18 by 18 by 24 is what most people say is very good size for them, so it's not a terrible size. It just, compared to this, it feels a little sad. Also, I do want to add in a heating element and a UVB light. I just literally can't because of how tight everything is with his current enclosure. So once this guy gets moved out, you can have a nice heat bulb and a nice LED. These guys do best at room temperature, but I think it never hurts to have a basking area. Of course, maintaining a good ambient, but I think having a slight hotspot, especially an enclosure this big where he has the ability to get away from it, I think would be really beneficial, especially now that winter is coming. I also just want to add that the fact that we can even think about animals and improving our pet care comes with a big notion of privilege. I don't want anyone to feel like they're an inadequate pet owner just because I'm able to do some things that maybe you can't. There are tons of things that I want to do that I'm not able to because I can't afford it, I don't have time to, I don't have the space. There's a lot of things I want to do, but I can't do. It's just all about doing what we can. I'm also 19. I know a lot of you think I'm younger. So that does come with a little bit more freedom in the things that I can buy and do and spend money on. And also being 19, I do have income sources, so I am able to spend more money. If you are younger, please don't feel guilty. I know I used to watch pet tubers when I was younger, and I honestly hated it. I love the animal community, but I was not in the same life circumstances as them, and I couldn't afford to just upgrade my rabbits whenever I wanted to, or buy a new set of toys whenever I felt like it, because those things are expensive, and I do recognize that whatever you're doing is enough, but I think it's also great to just keep learning and see ways that we can be doing even better. Another thing that I'm going to be improving is my sugar glider's cage. Now, this is already massive, but sugar gliders are called sugar gliders in that they glide. But most of the cages we use for them actually don't provide them enough width for them to actually be able to glide freely. So I really wanted to expand their cage. So Right now, it's 3 critter nations high, and after the expansion, it's going to still be 3 high, but added is going to be a double critter nation. And I think eventually I would like to add another 3rd critter nation, so it'll be a double wide triple, but I think because of the shape of my room, it might work better to just have a triple and then a double, so we'll see about that. And if the rabbit room looks emptier than usual, that's because this cage is in here. And I took out some of the rabbit stuff just to make it a little bit easier when I put the cage together. You're going to get your stuff back, I promise. Don't be bitter about it. It's okay. Another thing that I've been researching is actually bioactive setups for mammals, and I'm really excited. Specifically for the sugar gliders, I'm actually going to be putting in bins in the bottom of their critter nation, and I'm going to be using a bioactive soil mixture, the same one that I've actually used for my gecko cage. And I don't know if I'm going to add in springtails or any bugs yet, because sugar gliders will eat insects. They're not insectivores, but they love them. And I'm worried that if I add bugs to the bottom, it might throw off their ratio of how much protein they're supposed to get. So I like to do things slowly, one at a time. So if something goes wrong, I know what the issue is. So I'm going to try adding the soil first and then see how that goes. And if that goes well, I might try adding springtails and isopods and maybe eventually mealworms, because, oh, I'm sorry. I just hit one. But it would be nice to not have to buy mealworms from the pet stores and ones that I could breed myself. And they'd probably be healthier because they'd be eating the sugar glider scraps, which is obviously pretty healthy food because they're spoiled. So I think that would be good, but I also don't want them to be overeating on the mealworms, so I'm not sure about that. In regards to the rabbits, I've been wanting to do some type of bioactive or naturalistic element for them forever. For those of you that don't know, I am very pro taking my rabbits outside. Not all rabbits in general, but it's just something that I've done for a long time in my area, and I feel very comfortable with it. I feel like I know my rabbits well in my neighborhood, so it just works well for me, and I think there's a lot of enrichment to be had outside. But one, I don't really recommend taking your rabbits outside, especially because there's so many unknown variables you just can't predict for. Look at me sounding sciencey. But there's a lot of factors they just can't control, like the weather, the temperature, and then other things like pesticides, insecticides, the rabbit virus. That's pretty serious. So usually it's safer to keep your rabbits indoors. But I've been wanting to see if there's any type of element I can incorporate. And like I was saying before, I usually overdo it with these things. And I go in way above my head. And I wanted to try to do a full grass area. And I just don't think that'll be realistic in the space that I have right now. So one thing that I do think I can add is a dig box. I actually saw this in Victoria Rachel's rabbit room. And I think it looked awesome. And I think this is a very achievable thing for me to do, because having a fully planted grass area is something that I'm not sure how it would work, because I've never seen anyone do it, and I would have no idea how to maintain. And I just don't have the time to put into researching that right now. So I feel a lot better about doing a giant dig box. I'm not sure how I want to do it because my room is carpet. So if soil or dirt is getting in there, it's going to take forever to clean. I really want to do it with sand and dirt, not bedding like she used, because I just think that'll be better for them and wear down their nails. But I don't know, I'm wondering if it'll make the room really messy. So it'll definitely have to be a trial and error, but hey, if it doesn't work, worst case, the room gets a little bit messy and we can clean it. Another upgrade I've been wanting to do for a while is actually add an air purifier to this room. One, it's going to be way better for the animals. We try to keep the door closed when the rabbits are in, so sometimes the air can get a little stagnant. We do have windows that we pop open, but during the winter, I usually close them more because it's pretty cold in the basement. So I thought it'd be really nice to have an air purifier to help circulate the air. See, they're not missing out from not having their usual toys. They're fine. So I definitely want to add an air purifier. I actually do have a little teeny mini one back there. A lot of people think it's a scent thing. It's just a really cheap air purifier that I actually got when I bought the sugar gliders. I don't really think it works or it does anything, but I think getting one of the nicer, bigger ones would be really great for all the animals and for my allergies. A lot of the things that I'm doing right now cost money, and I realize that. I feel always I go months without spending anything, and then I have a 1 month period where I buy a bunch of stuff at once. It worked out because I just got paid, so that was really convenient. But I normally don't spend this much money, and I don't expect you guys to, so I know this sounds like a lot, and it honestly is. I'm kind of crying on the inside because it's really expensive. But I do want to talk about some of the free ways that I'm going to be improving my pet care because I think that's just as important. For one, I actually want to tame down my sugar gliders. I have two. Piglet is extremely tame. Cow used to be very tame and bonded. He's still pretty tame, but I just honestly haven't been putting in the same amount of time as I used to, so he's not super close to me bonded anymore, and I want to put in more efforts towards that. Ever since I lost one of my sugar gliders, Mocha, I know these guys aren't Mocha, but it's just hard to sometimes play with them and just know that he's not there and he should be. So without having Mocha, I definitely pulled back from the sugar gliders a little bit, and our bond has kind of gone to crap, so I have to put in a lot more effort, especially with Latte and Camel. Latte and I used to have a pretty okay relationship, but now he doesn't even tolerate me holding him for long periods of time. And Camel is absolutely terrified of me. He used to be very curious and inquisitive, but to be honest, it was always pretty inconvenient because he always would try to escape the cage when I was out. So I kind of made him a little scared of me unintentionally because every time he'd approach me, I try to shoo him away. So now he doesn't even bother, which is really sad. So I want to make sure that I'm building a bond. I think having a bond with your animals isn't necessary, but in my case, when I have sugar gliders that are bonded to me, it's a lot easier for me to interact with them. I also think I could do out of cage time a lot more if everyone was bonded, because right now, I sometimes put it off because especially Camel takes so long to get back into the cage. So I think if he was better bonded, it would be easier for that. With the rabbits, I actually want to get better about replacing their water more often. Usually in the winter, I tend to slack off because I obviously don't take my rabbits outdoors. And I really want to continue making sure that my rabbits are getting fresh water twice a day. It's a little thing, but standing water builds a lot of bacteria and it takes 10 minutes to clean it out, so I just want to make sure that I'm doing that. Another thing that I just simply don't know that much about is rabbit health and nutrition. For me, they've always been like the boring parts of animal research, so I know the bare minimum, I know the best vegetables to feed, I know the vegetables to avoid, and I feel pretty good about the diet that I have because it's worked for me. But in regards to the actual nutrition and health aspect, I don't know too much. I want to start incorporating more herbs into their diet because herbs are just incredible for them. My rabbit grooming schedule is also really terrible. It works really well because they groom each other a lot and they usually don't molt at the same time. So usually there's 2 rabbits grooming them instead of 1. But I do need to be better about brushing them, and more than brushing them, I need to be better about nail trims. In the summer, since they're outside a bit more, their nails do get worn down naturally. I do it about every 2 months, sometimes a little bit longer. In the winter, it's always so outgrown and I notice it. And I feel really bad because when you wait for you cut your rabbit's nails for so long, the quick actually gets longer, so you can't cut it as short as you'd prefer. And it's kind of like a really terrible cycle. Same with my sugar gliders. A lot of people try to cut their sugar gliders' nails every week to every 2 weeks. And I do it like once a month, which again isn't ideal. So I really want to be better about doing that. I also think adding some more naturalistic aspects to their cage, like different wood and cork pieces, will help with that. To just wear their nails down naturally. Okay, thank you for watching. Be sure to check the description box below because I'm going to link everyone else who's participated in this video. They all, I'm sure, have amazing animals and amazing improvements that they're going to make. So be sure to watch that. On my channel, we're all about supporting small creators. So if you have a small channel or you're thinking about starting one, please let me know in the comments and I'd love to check it out. Okay, thank you. Bye.